Hello everybody, I'm Serti and welcome back to Planet Crafter. Right, so this is all about automation. I've been doing a little bit of testing, and as you can see we have a auto crafter sitting on this, basically on the line, and I want to see what kind of range we're getting. So as you can see, we have access to 2 storage crates. And if we go 1, 2, 3, we are actually getting this storage crate and this one, but not the third one. So I am assuming then that it is 3 of the platforms distance from this edge, as you can see. Maybe slightly more than that. So yeah, at least now we know how far away we can put things, which is why my storage container, everything can be reached by the autocrafter that's sitting in the middle of it. Alright, so another thing I've noticed is you can pull stuff not just out of storage crates or containers, you can also pull things out of the beehive. So there's honey. It says container. So yeah, okay, it's got a container. Now, here we have beans in a farm. The container doesn't contain anything. However, the farms show, and they show all the different foods, which is very interesting. That means that if I choose to make high quality food, it's going to pull there we go, it's going to pull the beans out of the farm, the honey out of the hives. Now, obviously this won't work forever because I'm going to need to pull the bees out when the bees are made so that these don't just completely fill up with bees. Alternatively, we could just use a whole bunch of tier 1 beehives. So yeah, that's that. And because it's within 3 tiles, both farms are covered. Pretty cool. So we can let that just tick along on its own, and when we're looking for food at some point we go, oh no, our food container is empty. Boom, there's 8 new ones. Fantastic. Okay, you'll also notice one of my eggplant farms is missing. The reason for that is because I moved it. I'm doing another test. We go down here. Now, if you've played this game for any amount of time, you'll know the most annoying thing to do is make bacteria and compost. Well, interestingly, I don't have a container with algae around here. Okay? Yeah, this is picking up all the algae in the water. So what I've done is I've packed the algae generators really close together. But it does get pretty dense, and it doesn't seem to affect the amount of algae because I've done a couple of runs through, and it doesn't affect the amount of algae being generated. It just puts it all into a much smaller area, which is great because, yeah, obviously this only reaches 3 tiles or 3 platforms. So you can actually make bacteria and just let it run. You might need to get some more water in. This was actually my first test. You'll notice in this display there are only 3 water extractors, and that's because this 4th one over here, the 3rd one's in range, but the 4th one's just out of range. So that's one annoying thing sorted out. Then we go on to the next annoying thing, which is the fertilizer. Just because it uses lots of algae, it uses sulfur. So unless we are mining sulfur somewhere around here, which I've heard there's a glitch, or maybe it's not a glitch, with the Mark III miners, that they can actually mine almost anything anywhere, but I'm not sure if you're going to get the same amount if you're not in the sulfur area. So I'm not really going to test that yet, not really the point of this, but I'll get a sulfur container and I'll put it nearby, and then I've put a eggplant farm nearby. I'm not so sure why it's only doing 5, but the longer you leave it, the more it produces. And because these 2 will be fighting over the algae, you'll need less water because the compost doesn't take water, but you'll also need less eggplant and less sulfur. And they can just tick along on their own, and you can pop in once in a while and empty them out. And you have bacteria and you have tier 1 compost. Tier 2 compost is a little more complicated, but not too bad, because you could go and basically just get your methane extractors, gas extractors, a little bit closer, and you could just put up a squash farm, and you could have another autocrafter making tier 2 compost. Not sure if the same would apply to, look at that, containers full. And we still have a lot of algae left. If we went with mutagen, we've once again sulfur and methane. So we could actually do that. And then, yeah, well, we could put beehives nearby and just pick up common larvae. They do spawn around here, so it doesn't take much, only takes one. In fact, do we have any common larvae? Yeah, we only got one. So you could basically chain on a production line of end tier products that you want, which is great. Now, you guys have obviously seen, if you've watched my previous videos, my setup at the osmium side. It basically means that I could have this over here, and I could have another 2 platforms with the tier 3 miner, a couple more out and produce faster. It's not really necessary, but yeah, that's pretty nifty. Okay, so now we're back where we did our first test, and these 2 containers are in range. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove that one, just so that there's no confusion. So there's 2 down here, and what I've done is I've built this tower, and I've put 2, one on that level and one at the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, good grief, what have we got here? I know that sound. Okay, it's going to land pretty close. Let me let this pass. This is a Pulsar Quartz Asteroid. Very loud. Well, just in case people want to watch this, because I don't actually know if I've caught one this close. Okay. Yeah, and from these you can pick up like between, I think it's between about 7 and 10 Pulsar Quartz crystals, which is really nice to fill up those containers. Okay, well, there's one. So yeah, sometimes you just have to wait for the rocks to clear. Can't even access that one. Alright, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. Back to the subject at hand. So I've got a container in the 4th level and then one on the 5th level. And I've positioned them as close to this side of the container as I could. And if you go in and have a look, we can only see 2. One is that one, because we know that that one is being picked up. And the other one is the one on the 4th level. So the auto crafter can reach 4 levels up directly. Now, you have to assume that it's all like a sphere of reach around it. So if something is over here, it's going to be 3 levels up, maybe. But yeah, so this whole thing, the whole point of what I'm doing here is trying to explain that the way our factories are going to be set up is going to be different in the future. The way our bases are set up. I've set up this little example to get us through the difficult times of, wow, only 5. And only 5 here too. Yeah, to get through those difficult things like the bacteria, let's choose tier 1 fertilizer. I do have a container full of sulfur over here. And then what I've done over here is I've put another 2 in here. This one is going to do, trying to remind myself, it's going to do mutagen and this one will do tier 2 fertilizer. Now, the mutagen is going to pull bacteria from over there. It's going to pull methane from over there because it is in range of the 3 methanes. This one is going to pull it's going to pull algae. Oh, wrong one. Sorry, it's going to pull a bit of algae. It's going to pull fertilizer 1. It's going to pull squash from the little farm I put next to it. And it's going to pull methane from up there. So this is like a little production line. Pretty handy. The only thing that I'd need to keep topping up is the sulfur. So yeah, and obviously I can build more farms. And an example of that is up over here. See, the nice thing is you fill up that container and you walk away, and when you come back you actually have some stuff. And you didn't have to go out and collect 2 container loads of algae. It's just happening for you. This little setup is for bioplastic. And are we ready for it yet? I think we are. So bioplastic takes the 2 mushrooms, silicone and water. So I've got 2 mushroom farms over here. I've got a tier 3 extractor pulling silicon, and down over here I have its own little water extractor. And that's just going to keep chugging away. Now, if you want to produce more, you make sure that you have more resources and you just put another autocrafter down. But yeah, that's essentially my little introduction to automation in Planet Crafter. There's a lot more that can be done. Sure, I'm missing stuff. I know that you could probably mine, but I think it's a glitch. You could probably mine sulfur in this area. But maybe the point of the extractors being able to mine whatever you want in any area. In fact, you know, let's give it a test. Let me get the stuff. I'll be right back. I'm going to have to set this up somewhere far away from where I actually wanted to, because my setup right now is not conducive to having another extractor close by. But if I go in here and I choose sulfur, I'm interested to see if sulfur is mined, and I don't know if it's going to be. And we'll give that a second and see if a sulfur pops up. Right, well, there's our answer. Now, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be doing this. I'm not sure if this is a bug and will be sorted out. Maybe it is supposed to work like this and it just mines a little bit slower outside of its area, because I would think that there would have to be some kind of a benefit of having a sulfur mine in a sulfur area, but I could be wrong. So, well, there you go. You can pretty much mine anything anywhere. I wouldn't do everything in one place because it's going to affect your frame rate, I would think. And yeah, let's see how our little operation's doing down here. Look at that, 8 mutagen. We didn't even have to do anything. We have bacteria left over. We have some fertilizer, and I think basically they're all just busy fighting for algae right now, because algae is used in. Yeah, if I had to change this, I'd put a lot more algae generators in just to keep that flowing. But yeah, there's automation for you. Struggling with the frame rate. Let me get away from here. I think those, there we go. Yeah, I think that kind of setup would work, but maybe not directly next to the base. Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. That's my brief introduction to automation as I see it, and you can pretty much automate anything wherever you want. So it would definitely change the way we use our bases now, and considering that we won't necessarily need the biolab as much as we did before to make all of these, we could do them outside. Even this one could be done outside. It would obviously need to be fed common lava. Fabric can be automated pretty easy. It's only one product going in, and I'm already doing the food. Yeah, you could automate pretty much anything. You're not going to get a lot, but it's a lot less effort. You can run around doing other stuff while you are producing things that you will need to build your structures, your very, very large heaters and drills. So yeah, that's it. This update has made things quite interesting indeed. So if you like this video, give us a like. If you want to see more, subscribe and hit the bell icon for notifications. Appreciate the support. And leave a comment. Tell me if you've got any ideas, if you've seen anything that I might have missed. It would be interesting to hear, and this is certainly going to make us think a little bit more about how we put our bases together and where we put them. So yeah, that's it for now, and until next time, cheers.